And then, put the blade on your wrist. This is so that you don't make your Vambrace too small, because if you make it with the blade not in there, then the Vambrace is probably going to be too small after you put the blade in on your finished product. So make sure the sticky side is up when you're doing this. There, that's the first part. Now be sure, once again, that the sticky side is up. That's so it doesn't stick to your skin when you go to cut it off. Now put the sticky side down and do the exact same thing. So, wrap the whole thing up, give it a little pat down. Next thing, repeat again what you just did. So sticky side up. There you go. There's the basic gist of it. So that's the beginning of your Vambrace. Okay, now the next part is going to be to cut this thing off. That is a little painful if you do it wrong, so be careful. There are scissors and they can hurt you. So what you want to do is when your arms are out, you want the inside to be where you cut. This is so it looks a little bit better. And there you go. That's what it's going to look like. Now basically, because you did the two steps, there should be two parts. So to prevent those from falling apart, tape the two together. And there you go. There's the beginning to your Vambrace. Okay, so the next step, you'll need a cereal box. Get your pen and put your Vambrace down and mark a line right where the end is. And then roll the Vambrace and mark the last line where it ends. Do the exact same thing, but do the other bottom and top. Bottom's over here, top is over here. Roll it. If it lands in the same place, you're good. Bottom, top. Now you can see the basic shape of where that is. Okay, the reason we cut this thing out is so you could put it on this and add a bit more support, because right now it's really flimsy. It also smooths it out, which makes it look nicer in the end. Time to get your leather material. I got a boot from Valley Village. Actually, I got a pair of boots from Valley Village. That's how I was able to make two of these things. So, if you just bought fabric that's like leather, just cut it to the shape. What I'm going to do is cut right along the zipper here. The reason I'm cutting beside the zipper is because that's where I can't really use it, so you want to use as much of this boot as you can. There you go. There's your leather material. Let's get the corner of your leather and the corner of your Vambrace and put them together, but leave a little bit of excess on both sides. Now fold this over and put your needle in. I sewed the side and the back on now. Now I'm left with the two extra edges there, the excess. So what you're going to want to do, obviously, is cut off the excess, but leave enough so you can sew over the edge. So I'm going to fold this over to see how much I need, and then I'm going to cut it. Now what's really important to remember, when you're sewing these last two pieces on, every time you make a stitch, make sure that you pull it really tight. Because if you don't, there's going to be wrinkles and lumps in your blade and it'll just look terrible. The same thing with the excess here. You're going to fold it over and see how much you have. I can tell from this lump that that's how much I need. So, I'm just going to cut. Okay, so I've sewn together all the edges. The reason the tape's on there is because after I sewed everything together, there was a big wrinkle, so I had to cut it and then epoxy back on. I'm kind of disappointed I made the mistake. But anyways, so the last part to putting this part on is to get all these corners. The corners you can easily sew down. So you just fold the corner over and then sew it with as many stitches as you can. It has to be really strong because there's a lot of flex in there. Anyways, after that, you need to cut all the excess off in here and then epoxy it all down because the stitches aren't strong enough to hold it all on, so you need a little extra help with epoxy. pressure, make sure it all stays glued down. Okay, so after the glue has dried, you're going to get your marker and mark out however many eyelets you want. So I'm going to go with 18, 9 on each side. So I've already measured these. So put them about the same distance apart from each other on both sides. Then you're going to get your eyelets and look at them. These are 3/16. So guess what size drill that I'm going to use. 3/16. Who would have guessed? So, get this. Make sure you don't put it through your knee, because that would probably hurt a lot. What you're going to do is start from the outside and go in. The reason you do this is so all the imperfections are on the inside instead of the outside. So, after that's done, you should have however many holes that you drill. When you drill them, try and avoid this little flap that you put over, because if you do that, you're going to get it into the stitches. So, drill behind the stitches and they'll come up over here. Now what you need to do is pull out your eyelets. You can either buy these at Walmart or any other fabric store or something like that, or as I did with my first pair, you can just rip them off your shoes. And if you rip them off your shoes, it'll be quite handy, because then you'll have a shoelace to tie this up by the end. Okay, after you're done, you're probably going to be tempted to put the lace in right away, but don't do that. If you put the lace in and don't get these proper time to dry, they're just going to pop right back out and you're back to the beginning. So, put this aside, let it dry, then come back and lace it. While you're waiting for that to dry, get your 2 cat collars. Sadly, the only ones I could find had reflective things on them. They're the cheapest ones, so I went with them. Try and get a black one. Now get your scissors and cut off this little tiny buckle. You don't need it. Be sure when you sew it on that you keep this little tab on. Now before you put your blade inside your Vambrace, what I like to do is just put some masking tape on the back of it. You're not going to be able to see it, and it's going to stop any sharp edges from the metal that you cut from like hitting your skin and cutting you as you play with this thing, basically. Okay, so what you do now is get your blade, put it in the Vambrace, put your arm on it, and then close it. And make sure that's where you want your blade. If you don't want it there, then move it around. But if you do want it there, keep it as steady as you can. Get a marker and mark some lines on there. Now what you're going to do is put 2 holes right where those marks are, so you can put the cat collars around to hold in the blade. Now remember when we were making the Vambrace and I told you to do the 2 layers? This is why. So what you're going to do is in front of the place where you just marked, start cutting. And you're going to cut down to that 2nd layer. There, so that basically just gives your blade more room to move inside of. Get your cat collars and put them through the holes that you made earlier. After you put your cat collars in, turn it over and then stick your blade in. Then tighten these up. Get some scissors and cut them right about here. So we're almost done. Now just singe these edges a little bit. And just for good measure, I like to put them through one more time. I just bought some shoelace at Walmart. You need 9 plus, 483 centimeters, the same thing. Now it's just time to lace this thing up. And there you go. Your Vambrace is almost done. Now all you need is the design on the top. But I'm sure when you're finished this step, many of you are going to be doing this. Yeah. Hey man, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Oh, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, 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 yeah. Kick ass. Now it's time for the final part, to put the design on the Vambrace. This part is quite simple. First, get some cereal box cardboard and draw half the design on it. I'm going to put the design on my website with a link in the description to show you this. After you drew it on, cut it out. Then get the 2 sheets of foam and glue them together using the white glue. Once they're glued together, put the template on it and draw out half the shape. After you're done drawing it, flip it over and draw the same image on the other side. The reason I put these lines here is so I know where the middle is. There you go. Once that's done, of course, cut it out. So I drew the basic outlines of where I'm going to cut out. I'll put on my site again another picture with different shaded areas of what you should cut out. So on the top here, I'm only going to cut down 1 layer because there is 2 layers on this. And on the heart here, I'm going to cut the whole thing out. So I just cut out the little sections, and now comes one of the final parts before you actually glue it onto the Vambrace itself, to paint it. I got some acrylic paint at Walmart. The color is Silver Anniversary 506, in case you were wondering. You might need a few coats, especially if you have pen on there like I do. The final step on this is to draw on the designs. Before you glue it on, go to the very tip of the assassin's symbol here and just draw a little circle. And then where that circle is, cut it out. Then turn these over, get your glue, and put it on the back. Using a brush, spread it evenly throughout the entire thing so nothing's going to stick up. Now just hold these down so it dries. Okay, now for the final touch. You could use the white glue again, but I prefer super glue. Put it in the little tiny hole that you already cut. All you need is 1 drop. Don't use more than 1 drop. This is super glue after all. Then, inside the little hole that you just made, put the ruby. And there you go. That's how to make the Assassin's Creed Hidden Blade. Now if you made this blade using my tutorial, please send me a picture or a video of the finished product. Don't forget to check out my site. If you have an idea for what I should make next, go to our website and go on the discussion board and tell me what you think. But if you can't think of an idea, pick from one of these 3 and put a comment below which one you want.